What's up, everybody? Welcome. Happy National Signing Day. The big moment has officially arrived. And by big moment, I mean it's Wednesday. It's hump day. You're one day closer to the weekend. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That's Chad Hastings. Do yourself a solid. Just push a bunch of buttons, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We do appreciate all of your kindness. And jump into the Specs chat. I see Chris Bennett. I see Uncle Mickey. I see Texas K3P. Welcome, gentlemen. It is National Signing Day. We teased you. Any last minute hijinks, and the moment has arrived. And man, it's been pretty quiet. It has been. Texas signed a guy. I am looking in my email address right now. Hey, anything else happen? And nope, it's just the email that says football ads Elijah Ali. I love that guy's name, by the way.
Great name. Great name.
To 2026 signing class, bringing the class total to 24. If there was the idea that there's probably going to be another guy or two that might pop up later in the day, they probably hold off. They might just wait and combine all of these things, considering the press release that they sent out does have bios of every kid in the class. Like, this feels pretty. This is the press statement that we're getting today. By the way, in the press statement, new young freshman defensive back Yaheem Riley. I just noticed this. This stood out in a pile of words. Chad?
Yes.
His nickname is Miami.
Wow. Miami.
So don't call Yaheem Riley Yaheem. That's Miami, kid.
Miami. Hang on. Miami Riley. Yeah, I like it.
And the only other kid I see with a nickname listed is Samari Matthews, who goes by Smoke. So we got a Smoke and we got a Miami.
Ooh, and we knew we had Smoke Matthews already. That's nice. And Miami Riley, correct me if I'm wrong, that's a defensive back?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, a Miami Riley as a DB. I kind of like it.
I just elevated him from 3-star to 4-star.
Boom. That's all. Sometimes that's all it takes.
I've been holding it against him that he's an Austin Anderson guy and I'm a McCallum guy and the Taco Shack thing, you know?
Yes.
But now the one thing that high school pride will get stomped over, good nickname.
So this removes your Taco Shack bias. Is that what you're saying?
Look, I hate to. I'm pretty transparent that these biases will sometimes kick in.
Oh, yes. No, you've discussed your Taco Shack bowl feelings.
Look, once upon a time, Ben Freaky was a rival. He's no longer with us. Rest in peace. But he tried to intimidate me at Sonic, which is still on Burnett Road, weirdly enough. Like, some things change and some things will always be the same. And that Sonic is still standing. Well done, Sonic. That Long John Silver is way gone.
LJS not there anymore?
No, but man, back in like 94, it was slamming at lunchtime.
Maybe more about what they're serving. But
back to and no ATX baits. I was not spewing confetti. That was Chad. Chad's the official. Push the button, Chad. Let them see it again. Right. National Signing Day.
It does kind of source from your side, though. I guess that's what they're saying. Yeah.
But it's not me. It's not like I'm showering myself in confetti.
No, it just happens that way.
Well, the problem is our confetti gun doesn't shoot it all the way across the screen. We got a limp gun.
We have limited firepower when it comes to the confetti gun.
That is like one of those, like, you know, do you remember in the movie Harlem Nights when the guys are like shooting the Tommy guns, and then after they're done shooting the Tommy gun, the one guy's like, bang,
boom. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's why sometimes I'll put the star. The stars go all the way across. The sparkles go all the way across, but for some reason the confetti only likes your side. I don't know what it is.
It does make me feel very
the confetti is
only Catch gets to celebrate. Like, Chad's even moving away from it. Don't do that. Now it makes me look even worse.
Oh,
here. Hey, no. See, I'm gonna make you lean into it. Here's how we share. Here's how we share. It's National Signing Day. Let's celebrate.
Come on, it's National Signing Day. It's the day that used to be the massive day, and now two different things to catch are pushing it away. The other signing day already pushed it away in December. And now the portal maybe does it a little bit more, but you literally sent a message out today to the OB group of how it was just one of the weirdest signing days. And then it hit my brain. Oh my God. And I'm doing the calendar in my head. February, Wednesday. Oh my God. I hadn't even thought about it. It had not occurred to me.
I do enjoy that Tex Blonde just entered the Specs chat. And she must have been like, what did I just walk into?
Yeah. What's up?
Boy, this is, I woke up today and I was like, something will happen. It'll be interesting. And then, and in reality, this is very much, I don't even know what metaphor, I don't know. It's not even day 3 of the NFL draft. We're at the end of the NFL draft. It's less about the 233rd pick, the Buffalo Bills. It's not live. This is the pick. It's urgent. Let's show it who it is. Instead, there's a lot more. Maybe it is a little bit like day 3 of the NFL draft. There's a lot of taking stock. I think that one thing that happened this week is that we did get some finality in the rankings. I don't know if that totally moves the needle at all, but there is a real sense after the bowl games, which all of the services were waiting to see, quite frankly, games that involved a lot of guys that didn't sign early. So a limited pool, but they wanted to see what these guys looked like. One final evaluation in person. But, Diabell's on campus and Derek Cooper's on campus. And I think one of the real interesting conversations is yesterday 24/7 came out with their last rankings, Chad, of the entire process.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, there's a couple of guys that look. So,
and real quick, are they doing everything, the high school recruiting part as well as the transfer portal edition?
This is just high school stuff that I'm talking about. They've got the final rankings for when in 20 years from now, when you click on Diabell's recruitment, his final recruiting grades across the board are in.
Okay.
So just real quickly, Diabell ends up being a 5-star by Rivals and ESPN. He's the highest rated. Rivals has their Rivals industry ranking, which is a 30% chop, right? So take all threes national average, and then you sort them based on the average. Diabell is 16th nationally because he's 32 in Rivals, 38 in 24/7, and 13 in ESPN. But so they had one guy. They had no unanimous 5-star players in this class.
Okay.
Which, I don't know. That's kind of shocking.
That's a little hard to believe. Yeah. You're saying there's not one guy that all 3 would agree is a 5-star?
Correct.
Not even Diabell?
Diabell is a 4-star, the number 38 player in the country, according to 24/7.
Wow. See, I did not realize that. Okay.
And then you've got Richard Wesley, which was a 5-star on Rivals and ESPN, like Diabell.
Mm-hmm.
But he was 83rd in the country by 24/7.
Wow.
So he's not a unanimous super blue chip, even though he's a 2-time. He is a consensus 5-star, but he's the number 20 player in the country. But it was interesting. 24/7 comes out with their last ranking. He's not a super blue chip.
Wow. So who doesn't think Derek Cooper's a 5-star?
Everybody.
He's not a 5-star to anybody?
No, I take that back. ESPN ranked him as a 5-star, the number 20 player in the country.
Okay.
24/7 ranked him as the number 158 player in the country, and Rivals ranked him as the number 216 player in the country, which means he ended up the aggregate median score was 81. He's the 81st ranked player in the country in the morphed baby of super ranking scores, the Rivals industry.
Okay. Fair enough.
But the guy that I wanted to, and Trevor Atkinson, if you're wondering, you want to play the game? How many five-star ratings did Tyler Atkinson have?
Tyler Atkinson out of the 3, I'm going to say one. One considers him a 5-star.
That is correct. But both 24/7 and Rivals also have him as a super blue chip. So he joins Diabell as the only unanimous super blue chips. No unanimous 5 stars, 2 unanimous super blue chips, 1 more consensus super blue chips, which means 2 of the 3 major services rated a guy with a ranking that would be in the super blue chip territory. As I said, Richard Wesley, number 8 overall by ESPN, number 29 overall by Rivals. That's how he qualifies. To me, the most interesting guy in the entire class. And I'm ready to have a little conversation about him.
All right.
Jermaine Bishop Jr.
Ah, yes.
24/7 came out with their rankings yesterday. They basically gave him the Decorian Moore ranking. He's 5 stars, number 13 overall in the class.
That was on 3, you said, or 24?
That's 24/7.
That's 24/7. Okay.
But since you mentioned it, Rivals on 3. On 3 is Rivals. It's like Einhorn. What was it in
Finkel and Einhorn?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Rivals finished. They had him with the number 139th overall ranking in the country.
Wow. So like a 4-star.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And what that means is, and as far as ESPN is concerned, they met somewhere in the middle. So functionally, from an in-state ranking, 24/7 ranked him as the number 2 prospect in the state. ESPN ranked him at number 10. Rivals ranked him at number 18. Rivals would tell you, based on where they slotted him, there's a 25% chance that in 3 years, that guy's going to be good enough to still be at your school. That's what Rivals just told you with his ranking. Do you know what ESPN just told you with his ranking? In 3 years, he will be a top of the first round player. And that's just, we don't usually see that extreme of, if you're reading ESPN today or 24/7 yesterday, they're telling you that Jermaine Bishop is playing right away this year, because if he's the number 2 player in the state, he must have cost cement. So he's playing in 26, playing in 27, plays in 28, NFL draft in 29. And in the NFL draft in 2029, that guy will be a top of the first round player. And the Rivals ranking on him suggests there's a better chance that in 2 years, he hasn't played at all and is gone. And as much as we wanted to point out, like the swing in the Richard Wesley ranking, as much as, you know what? And I suppose Derek Cooper has an even more extreme situation. ESPN is telling us that Derek Cooper is the number 20 player in the country. And Rivals is telling us he's the number 216 player in the country. Now, from a functional standpoint, that's basically the same thing as we were just talking about with Jermaine Bishop. 13 and 20, roughly the same. 139 and 216, also roughly the same, just not in the way that people have been raised to think of what that means from a recruiting ranking standpoint. Those 2 guys, I guess, are both super interesting because at least one person is, and we saw this with CJ Baxter, right? The expectation for CJ Baxter was through the roof crazy. And the reason was one person called him a 5-star. He was 5-star CJ Baxter. Now, we know Sark had a man crush on him, and it must have killed him to see CJ Baxter leave the program. But you tell me, man, I kind of get the sense that you think of CJ Baxter as 5-star CJ, or Derek Cooper as 5-star Derek Cooper.
I do. Yes. That's how I think.
Most Longhorn fans will as well. And I think Texas will have paid Derek Cooper to be 5-star Derek Cooper.
Yeah.
But it's signing day, man. And 2 of the 3 services, one has him ranked at 158 and the other one has him at 216. And I do not know if a Texas fan says, do I think he's closer to 20? Or do I think he's closer to 216 or 158?
Yeah, now that's where I was going. Let's pause here because I want to get, before we keep going on too many names, I want to get your thoughts on those guys.
Okay.
Let me remind everybody, if you want to throw a super chat in, you can certainly do that. That, of course, is Specs bringing you the chats and the super chats. Valentine's Day is coming up. Here comes that love spot for you.
Amour. Love. What does this word even mean? In France, it means wine, champagne, chocolat. Where does one go to find such things? Specs, of course. For the heart of Specs beats with wine for your Valentine, bubbly for your beloved, bonbons for your bébé. Ah, Specs knows the language of love and how to keep your francs in your pants. Say enchanté to savings.
It's so fantastic. Shout out to Specs and Valentine's Day coming up. They got that wine sale going on as well, so check them out. All right, so Catch.
We're about to have, I think, a really fascinating conversation.
All right, so you said you wanted to talk about Bishop. I will get you to talk about Cooper, but you said you want to talk about Bishop, so let's start there.
Well, I think the conversation is very similar with both.
Okay, and it's good balance. One's offense, one's defense. So,
or they're both offense.
Bishop, or I guess that's true.
Jermaine Bishop does not know where he's playing.
Right. Really. That's another part of the question here. So my sense is that you feel a certain way about Jermaine Bishop, but I may be wrong. Lay it out for me. One of the services has him way up here. The other has him down further. What do you think of Jermaine Bishop? What's he going to be?
I think it's way harder to talk about him than to say he's the 13th best player in the country. Because if he tested like Xavier Worthy, we would still ask the question of, if a guy that's listed in some databases at 5'11", 155, like what's his, if Xavier Worthy can run like a 3.62 at the combine and barely scrape the first round, in part because of physically kind of what he is, then how much bigger does a guy have to be Devontae Smith, right? If they're not wildly different, but there's a conversation to be had about Jermaine Bishop that just physically, he's not the most physically imposing guy in the world. He's got some Xavier Worthy size stuff going on there, right? I even compared him, the former Longhorn physically that he might remind you of is former Round Rock star James Kirkendall. And a lot of people took offense to that, but like James Kirkendall was a really good college player, played on some good teams. Like I think sometimes, and if a guy's not a superstar, it's an insult to say, oh, he was just a guy that had 800 yards and led the team in receiving one year. But like I meant it as a compliment, and I really meant physically try to picture in your head what it looks like in a uniform at this level. But Bishop is not out running track for Willis and popping numbers that would make you go, oh, he's elite. As a timed, how do we determine it? How do we know Xavier Worthy is really, really fast? Well, he timed really, really fast. There's not like a Jermaine Bishop 10-4 that you look at and go, that fucking guy's fast. He's not really that guy. He might be more like an 11 flat 100-meter guy. What he is, though, is a 5-star player. The hardest thing to figure out, I think, in recruiting oftentimes is there are more 5-star players than there are 5-star athletes. But the guys that find out that end up translating from 5-star football player in high school to 5-star player in college, when they hit, you feel like an idiot for having ever doubted it. You're like, how could I have ever doubted that guy was going to, but it happens all the time. It happens all the time. And it happens at wide receiver more than any position in football. There is no position in the history of recruiting. Micah Hudson, guys, like we don't even have to go that far back. There are recent examples, super recent examples of that guy's can't miss. That guy's a 5-star. That guy's a top 15 guy in the country, and receivers miss all the time. And there are positions where that doesn't happen. Quarterback, not as volatile. Defensive end, not as volatile. Running back, surprisingly. Defensive tackle, surprisingly, not as volatile. Wide receiver, it's not even a coin flip at the top. So, Jermaine Bishop in high school, 5-star player, but he's got 4-star physical measurables. When you merge those two things together, you have to be careful not to overhype the 5-star on the field part. And you also can't ignore it and just focus on, well, he's not elite as an athlete. I actually think he may have a superpower, and it might be like in what his shuttle time would look like. I think if we see Jermaine Bishop as a star at this level, it's because his ability to get in and out of his breaks, make guys miss in space, take advantage of being a phone booth guy in a world of, it's hard to succeed in phone booths in the modern era of college football, but what if you've got a guy that makes guys miss in a phone booth? That guy suddenly becomes incredibly valuable, even if he lacks elite top-end speed. Hey, man, a lot of ways to get to the end zone. Dudes not being able to get their hands on you is one of them. And there's a lot of ways for guys not to be able to get your hands on them. He does have the ability, I think, to just be the quickest guy on the field, functionality-wise. So what does that mean? I'm in the middle of these things. I don't have Jermaine Bishop as a super blue chip in the state.
Okay. So not a super blue chip, but not down as low as the 140 range.
I mean, that's about where I would have him. He is, if you think about like the new tier system that we've set up, right? So there's diamond and there's platinum. And that would be in the old school ways of viewing things, 5-star and a high 4-star. I wanted to get us away from, well, low star, 4-star, and a high 4-star? Which one? You know what I mean? Like platinum, diamond, those things are really valuable. He would fall into the category of gold. And what would I say is gold? I'd say gold's better than silver. Gold's better than bronze. Gold's actually really good. Is it platinum, though, or diamond? It is not. So I would have him in a gold tier, not quite at that level. I'm somewhere on this with ESPN, who has him 10th in the state. I think he's closer to 10th than I think he's closer to 20th, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But he is not an elite athlete. He's an elite football player. And sometimes those guys turn out to be Earl Thomas. I can remember going to a 7-on-7 tournament once before Earl's senior year. So we're in College Station. And I'm standing next to a former Longhorn player who played in the NFL. And he's watching Earl Thomas in a 7-on-7 game. Mm-hmm. And the guy was in the NFL at the time. And he just kind of looked at me and went, well, shit, man, that guy's the best player that guy's best player here. That's the best player in the state. That guy right there. And we were like, well, he's 5'11". He's not the fastest guy in the world. 5-star player, but I don't know about 5-star. He was right. Earl Thomas was that. Mm-hmm. But there have been other guys where I've been with NFL players who've said, that guy's going to play on Sundays. You watch, and then they're gone in 60 seconds. It is a pseudoscience of sorts. Not even of sorts. It is a pseudoscience. That's why I can't wait. I can't even wait to see what the hell they do with Jermaine Bishop, Chad, when he gets on campus. Is he a receiver or is he a corner? I think they thought he was more of a corner than a receiver, except in high school. He's so dynamic with the ball in his hands. Well, you know who else they said that about once upon a time? Quandre Diggs. And once upon a time, it was, does he play running back? Do you let him play cornerback? Guys, there's a world out there where Texas was desperate at running back, where they would have just kept Quandre Diggs on the offensive side of the ball. And you know what? Maybe then he never plays in the NFL. Maybe he's at the wrong position. Maybe he's really, really good, but never great. Or maybe there's a better version of Quandre Diggs that would have been a Hall of Fame running back, and we never saw it because he ended up playing defensive back. There's a real sliding glass doors decision that's got to be made with Jermaine Bishop. And we literally asked Jermaine Bishop a couple of weeks ago, so what do you think? And he's like, I don't know, man. They're telling me I'm going to play both, and I don't care, and I just want to get on the field.
Right. I'm assuming in high school he does a lot of both.
Well, that's why he's Jermaine Bishop.
Right. Yeah.
That's why he's 13th in the country, because that man he just sells popcorn. He plays in the band. He is, pound for pound, probably the best football player in the state. But I can't say that I've ever watched his film other than, like I said, he's super quick. He's jackrabbit quick. And if I saw a shuttle time and you told me he was 3.82 on the 20-yard shuttle, I would be like, okay, well, so that's the same as running in a 4.3. I kind of get it a little bit, but I don't know that for sure. I've never quite seen that metric on him. It's why I'm not quite elite, but man, I can see it being elite. That's why I'm in the gold. But boy, what if the best long-term decision is the decision that doesn't get him on the field the fastest? How do you make that call, if that's even the call? Do you even have a personal opinion on where you would play Jermaine Bishop?
I'm trying to remember. I know I watched the film. It's been a little while.
I think everybody wants to play him on offense.
Offense is my gut was offense because of but also because I'll admit I have a bit of a thing for taller DBs. Like I'd love the DBs to be 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". So because he's not that, I think badass offensive guy, put him in a slot, make people deal with him, jet sweep, that kind of stuff. But then you're telling me maybe that jet sweep wouldn't look exactly like I think it's going to look.
Well, no, I think jet sweeps are the type of plays he could do really well on, because you're just getting that guy in space, and
right.
That's like in Rocky when Rocky's got to try to catch the chicken. He's got some chicken components in him that getting your hands on him is not – I mean, that's his superpower on the field.
From what I remembered, if I'm looking at it and I was thinking of if that's in a Longhorn uniform, where is it best used? I was probably thinking offensive. Are you the same?
I always liked him on defense more until this season.
Okay.
But, look, I can remember watching Michael Griffin on offense. Touchdowns are sexy, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They just are. And when you see a guy score a bunch of them, you know who else? Other guys that kind of – Terrell Brown. Like that was a guy that ran for 2,000 plus yards at running back in high school, but also played DB. And there were those that we talked about this with Michael Terry a year ago. Is he a better linebacker? Is he a better running back? Well, I think this is I have always said I thought Michael Terry's best position is on the defensive side of the ball, but some of these guys. It's the real interesting thing about Bishop, Chad, is that he doesn't fancy himself as one thing more than another, because Jalen Lott does. Jalen Lott and Jermaine Bishop are very similar in a lot of ways. Texas thought Jalen Lott was better on defense. Jalen Lott was like, I want to play wide receiver in college, and Oregon is telling me that they like me as a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what Texas probably needed to do earlier, if they really wanted Jalen Lott, was to go, well, we think you're a wide receiver too.
Yeah.
Put that away. Tell Aaron Ross to go home. Get Jordan to show up, right? Like let you just start rolling through the road. Tell Limas we need him to come into town this week. They probably didn't do that a whole lot, but Bishop is weird with Jalen Lott. Jalen Lott may be is the inverted Jermaine Bishop in that he is a 5-star world-class athlete who I don't think is a better football player than Jermaine Bishop. That's not to say he's not a great football player, but I think Jermaine Bishop is a 5-star football player. And, if push comes to shove and you would rather have the 5-star athlete or the 5-star player, it's not always the right decision, but I will always lean towards the more physically gifted guy. I'll take my chances on freaky athletic and needs to put it together over knows what he's doing. But you're occasionally going to have a Zach Thomas. And I always bring this up, Chad. Every once in a while, man, Dexter Coakley's going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know why we're still talking about Dexter? Well, you know why I'm still referencing Dexter Coakley on a show in 2026?
Because he's rare.
Because there ain't ever been another Dexter Coakley.
Yeah.
But people would have walked around for a while saying, like, hey, man, there can be a Zach Thomas. There can be a Dexter Coakley. And there can be. but more times than not, they're Anthony Hill. It's like, oh, what is that guy? He's 6'3", 225, and he might run a 4.5. Oh, I'll have some of that. I'll take my chances with that. Yeah, but that 5'10" guy, he made 200 tackles at Lamarck last season. I don't give a shit if he made 1,000 tackles last year at Lamarck. Like, how big is he? 6 foot? What does he weigh? $195? Yeah. Give me. How many tackles did Anthony Hill make? Oh, he didn't. He has an agent, and the agent didn't want him playing his high school senior season, so he just made NIL money. Which do you want, the guy that made 200 tackles and led his team to the state championship and is 6 foot, 190 pounds? Or do you want the guy that has all the physical intangibles? And I know there will be people listening right now that will say they want the player. And I'm just telling you right now, just ask yourself this: what would the NFL do? What would the NFL do?
Yeah, they're gonna go with the measurables,
and they're gonna take that great player. Usually,
we got some good chats on Bishop. Also, a good question to have you talk about Derek Cooper. If you guys want to jump in the chat, feel free. Get us a super chat if you want. I'll show you some more drinks here with the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. If you're looking for a Valentine's idea, might be a good idea. Get out there, take your Valentine out there for a couple of drinks. They are open today as we talk to you on a Wednesday through Sunday at the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. You're headed out to beautiful Dripping Springs. They've got the great barbecue on site. Go have yourself a day. Maybe it's a birthday you're celebrating like we do a lot when we head out there, getting together with friends, whatever it is. Obviously, do it responsibly. And remember to bring back those martini glasses, or maybe it's the mason jars for your discounted refills. Oh, so good out at the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. Thanks for telling them that you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live. We do appreciate it. We didn't have, I don't see super chats right now, but a couple of thoughts.
You started one that I definitely want to respond to.
A couple people on Jermaine Bishop. Off the field, Jermaine Bishop might not be a 5-star, but on the field, hell yes, he is. And then our guy David Keith says, Jermaine Bishop is unquestionably an offensive player.
Now, David, I'm glad that Chad brought that one up. I wanted to respond to that. I guess try telling Jermaine Bishop that. You say he's unquestionably an offensive player, but Jermaine Bishop would question that. So, I mean, I'm not saying that either Chad and I even disagree with you. I'm telling you, we as recently as in January asked Jermaine Bishop, where do you think you're going to play? I don't know. Do you have a preference for which side of the ball that you play on? Not really. So, I mean, I feel you. I do. But, like, Jermaine Bishop does not feel you. And it is, and I think it's really notable because if David Keith Williams were Jermaine Bishop's, like, uncle, well, that would be notable, right? Like, okay, well, now we know what position he's going to. But, like, there's no sense that there's a favoritism there. So, I don't know. And I don't, honestly, with Jermaine, I don't know what the best answer is. I know the fastest way to get into playing time right now is if he were to show up and beat out Dalen McCutcheon in the slot. And he's a completely different animal than Emmett Mosley in the slot. So I could see where in like a 4 or 5 receiver rotation, if he could beat out Dalen McCutcheon, in part because his skill set does translate to this level, then he's wildly different than Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo. So there's a best case. Can he help this year? Yeah, man. If it clicks, if it happens fast for him, and he is the highest of what we think his upside could be, like there's a chance that he hits the field at wide receiver and maybe gets on the field early. It kind of sucks that maybe Arch will be limited or unavailable early in the spring, or maybe who knows? We'll see how that goes. But he, is out of action for now. I do think the playing time at cornerback's a little murkier, right? And I also think it was made murkier by the return of the 2 guys from the portal. Kobe Black and Warren Roberson both coming back puts 2 guys directly in front of the entire pile of young guys. So it's not even a matter of, to get on the field at DB this year, Jermaine Bishop would need to be better than all the young guys in the program. But now he's got to be good enough to get over a couple of guys that have been in the program 3 and 4 years. They're not great, but they also are good players. Mm-hmm. So, you could make a case that wide receiver is really hard because they got a big 3, and now sometimes they might play 4, but that's about it. And so maybe, Dalen McCutcheon a lot of times was the 5 guy this year and just didn't play. So I don't know, but I think it's got to be wide receiver is the best chance to immediately see the field, Chad.
Yeah. All right, let's get your thoughts on Derek Cooper. We said we'd talk about him kind of in the same light. The potential of Derek Cooper as a physical running back that Cedric Baxter never was at Texas is extremely high, according to, again, our guy, David Keith. What's up, David Keith? Hope you're having a good one. All right, Catch. I'm assuming you see Derek Cooper as an offensive guy, but how good of an offensive guy?
So let's go over those rankings real quick. Mm-hmm. ESPN has him 20th in the country, 5 stars.
Yeah.
24/7 has him at number 158 nationally, the number 10 running back in the country, the number 17 player in the state of California. And Rivals has him at 216 nationally, the number 15 running back in the country, the number 24 player in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Texas is paying that guy to be the second best running back in the country. They did not have him rated above Xavier Crowell, who ended up going to Alabama. And I think Texas, for a time, thought they were in really good shape with Crowell. I think they thought for a little while they were going to get Crowell. And then Cooper ends up being the running back response. We've told the story a million times. Jason talks to him, Sukamel talks to him in late June, and doesn't have Texas in his top 5, doesn't take an official visit to Texas, and yet signs or commits to Texas, in part because some things matter more than visits and stuff like that. And that proved to be the case with Derek Cooper.
Quick clarification. You said California and Florida. It's Florida for Cooper.
Florida,
correct?
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, yeah.
And so I guess I will say this. I don't look at Derek Cooper and see 5-star running back.
Okay.
Now, that is, if I ask you, how do you think of Derek Cooper? You say 5-star running back. Mm-hmm. That's what comes to your mind, and I think that's what came to mind when people heard C.J. Baxter. Somebody at some point said 5-star running back, and once those things come, it's like the Lawrence Seymour kid. Hey, he's All-American. Well, okay. Don't go okay me. Was he a second-team All-American for the Football Writers Association of America? Yes. Then he's a returning All-American, Catch. And you're just like, touche. It is a little bit like that with Cooper. He is a 5-star running back by ESPN, but he is not an elite player or an elite prospect in anybody else's estimation. I think he's better than C.J. Baxter, but I did not think C.J. Baxter was a super blue chip running back. I remember watching that class of players and thinking the kid that just transferred from Michigan was the best. Justice Haynes was, I thought, the best running back in the country that year. I thought he was on a separate level than C.J. Baxter. The question I always had a tough time answering was, do I think C.J. Baxter for me would be kind of like a gold running back who I've at least considered to put in the elite category? I'm a little bit like that with Cooper. I think it's really interesting, Chad. They will pay Derek Cooper a lot of money. And they went out and got 2 starting running backs that are going to play this year and play a lot of snaps. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. You could talk yourself into they're just trying to talent whip everybody, and that's Texas being Texas, and good on them.
Yeah. And when we were going through the portal process, we played little games like if you're going to get one of the 2 of them to pair with Derek Cooper, which one makes the most? Well, now they got both. Now they got 2 of those guys, to your point. So how does Derek Cooper fit in?
I don't know. But I think in part it does at least warrant asking, like, hey, is that them protecting against Derek Cooper not being elite. Because what you couldn't have is that you gave Derek Cooper a bunch of money and then he comes in and he's CJ Baxter. This team can't afford for that to happen.
No.
But by bringing in two proven guys, if Derek Cooper is CJ Baxter this year, but the other two guys do the thing, cool. I mean, it won't have worked out from an investment standpoint, and the people that cut those checks, including the Texas coaches at that point, might be going, we can't do this again next year. But you probably don't lose on the field because of it. But we saw this at various positions last year. Hey, we saw it 2 years ago in the punter. We signed the punter. We think the punter is going to be the guy. It's like, well, what if he's not? What do you mean if he's not? Well, what if he's not good? Oh, well, that's not going to happen. Well, no, but what if it does? But it's not going to happen. And then it does happen, and you're not prepared for it. I think one of the real interesting things is that they prepared themselves. They got an escape clause on each of those running backs. One gets hurt, they got the other. If one of those guys doesn't work out, they got the other. And Cooper, if he doesn't work out, they got the other two guys, including everybody else that they would have at the position. It did for me in real time feel like a little bit of like, oh. Remember, they didn't just want two running backs when the names were Raleigh Brown and Isaac Brown and Jaden Baugh. Remember?
Yeah.
I kept saying they don't think that like that's I'm not being told that they can't have both. And at the time I thought they're not going to get both. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they double up? Why they are spending the money. I always knew in the back of my mind they're spending the money on Derek Cooper. So they're only going to do so much at running back. That they did as much as they did, they always wanted to take two. In reality, and this is scary, they wanted to take Jaden Baugh and Isaac Brown and pair them together. We kept spending all that time talking about which of the two did you prefer?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was funny, but that my sources never talked about it like that. Ever. And I did. I kept thinking about it like, well, you guys got to make a choice at one point or another. It just never happened. And then they got Raleigh Brown. And then it was like, okay, well, they got their running back. But what do we know that they did behind the scenes? We wanted two. People are not listening to us. We want two. Yep. What do we got to go do? Well, we really like Hollywood Smothers. Yeah, but I think he's already in class. I think he's in history class tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have his agent's phone number, right? Let's make that call. And so I do think there's a message they're telling us. They won't tell us publicly. And it could just be as easy as better to have three than two so we don't leave ourselves any wiggle room for like what happens. And to that point, I would go, that's amazing. Now do that everywhere else. Do that on the offensive line.
I was just about to say, do that with the big boys.
Do that on the offensive. Do what you just did at running back on the offensive line.
Man, if they could, yeah, maybe that's next time.
They did upgrade the running back position a bit more than they upgraded the offensive line.
They definitely did.
Best. Take Hollywood and Raleigh Brown and compare them to Lawrence Seymour and Melvin Siani. And like those are nice players. They're good players. The other guys are difference makers.
Yeah, at least they dealt with all three of the things we talked about last season.
Yeah.
They definitely dealt with two of them, and then they kind of dealt with one. Maybe they'll make that move to offensive line next year. All right, thank you guys for jumping in. If you want to get us a super chat, you can do that. I'll see if
real quick on Cooper.
Yeah,
because we can put a ribbon and bow on that. After I just wanted to say,
okay,
he's not a wiggle guy. He is to me a poor man's Herschel Walker. So 6'5", 210. He's a big kid. He's got really good speed. Doesn't have Herschel speed, which is why I think he's like a poor man's Herschel. But he's not a guy that's going to sink into his hips. He's not a guy with feet that like are going to remind you of Baryshnikov. He is a straight line north-south, get it and go running back. He's really, really good at it. I think he's a slightly more elevated CJ Baxter kind of a guy. But he's not going to make you miss. And I will say it's really interesting that the two guys they signed are make you miss guys. So maybe there really is a little bit of a thunder and lightning combo idea with how they're pairing them. it might be that they really do look at Derek Cooper and say that's 50% of what we're doing. These other two guys are going to represent the 50% together, not including the passing game. But man, it's hard not to look at these last couple of Derek Cooper rankings come in, Chad, and go, is Texas paying roughly $1 million for a guy that's actually not as good as they think he is? And I'm somewhere in the middle of yes and no, because I don't think he's $1 million running back. But I also don't think he's CJ Baxter. So what that ends up being, I'm not quite sure. It might end up being a really good player, right? If he's CJ Baxter at 5 yards a carry, I mean, you keep that guy on the team for 3 or 4 years, all day long. Like, that's a very productive guy. I don't know. Both of these guys, I'm usually very emphatic, Chad, right? Give me a recruit and I will tell you exactly what I think. Mm-hmm. And what makes those two guys really interesting inside this class is that I'm a little perplexed into how we're supposed to view them. And I just asked you with Derek Cooper, how do you think of him? And you think of him as 5-star Derek Cooper, which means there's an expectation for you. I think it has to be he plays right away and plays a lot. And I look at him and go, I don't know, maybe, but it's not as simple as like Atkinson showing up at linebacker. That guy's going to play a lot. Are you sure? I'm sure. It's a little bit with Derek Cooper. Was like, oh, he's going to show up and play a lot. Are you sure? No, I'm not. But I think he's going to play a lot. Like, those two things are just slightly different conversations. I'm even more on the fence with Jermaine Bishop. I don't know where he's playing.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. God, that's a good chat question. We'll get to that. Let me pay a couple bills before we do it. First off, AV consultations, Super Bowl coming up. You're going to be watching on a big screen. Make sure you have the biggest and the best screen for next football season. Make sure you have the setup that you've always wanted. 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. Maybe you've always wanted 2 screens or 4 screens. You want your own 4-box. When you watch YouTube TV, you get jealous and you want your own. Well, you can do that. They've put as many as 12 screens in somebody's bedroom. They've done that. They'll do it for you if that's what you want. They've done it since 1988. The absolute best, the highest quality stuff, the best in the Sonos audio equipment, get you the best speakers, make sure the cords are all hooked up just right. Let them handle every detail, including buying the TV with AV consultations. Tell them you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live. We appreciate it. Another area when you might be thinking about a screen, maybe it's when you play hijack poker. When Catch plays hijack poker, got to be on a good screen, right? Got to be on a nice screen. Also,
shout out one on your iPhone, but yeah, a computer too. Yes.
Computer. I'm gonna have it on a nice screen. Get that figured out. Thanks to Texas Card House for being our presenting sponsor. If you need that online version, go to hijackpoker.com. I know you're busy, but as long as you're in the great state of Texas, there is Hijack Poker waiting on you. Scan the code, put it on any device you want, including that new big beautiful screen, maybe that AV Consultations just installed for you. See what I did there? Hijackpoker.com. Thanks to Texas Card House for being one of our great sponsors. Catch, before we go too far away from it, this is a quick question from Mark.
Real quick on the hijack thing. I think it cracks me up all these months later.
Yeah,
I went and played at one of the tournaments at the Spring location. And while I was there, I played against a guy who was people were like coming up to him and they were like, asking him questions. Professional poker player, might have had a bracelet. I can't remember. I think he did. And World Series of Poker bracelet. You know what I'm talking about, right? If I say bracelet, did you understand that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so like the next day, like I'm messaging Ryan and I'm like, hey, I was at the club and like this guy was at one of the tables and I was like, do you know who that guy is? And he was like, have you downloaded our app yet? And I was like, not yet. He's like, download the app. I download the app and like his face is all over it. And I was like, oh, okay. So he matters a lot.
There it is. Yeah. Kind of a big deal. Speaking of big deals, Catch, is Derek Cooper better than Wisner for you?
As a prospect, yes. As a Trey Wisner entering next season as a senior versus no, he's not. But that's not really the question I think that Warren's asking, because I don't think Derek Cooper is RB1. He's probably RB3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So do I think Raleigh Brown or Hollywood Smothers are better than Trey Wisner? And to that question, both the answers would be yes.
No, there you go, Mark. Thank you for that. That cleans off all the super chats. I do not see any more right now. Catch, you got buy or sell ready for today, or are we not doing it? What do you
No,
think?
let's do some buy or sell.
Buy or sell. You want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
All right, hit it.
Buy or sell number one. It's turned into Western week for me.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Buy or sell. You believe I am having a hard time with the blatant racism from movies in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s that relates to a lot of the characters in the movie. In 2026, it just makes it a tough watch. Buy or sell.
There's just no way with you and setting it up the way you did that could be a sell. I'm going to buy that is something that you're struggling with as you watch these movies.
Jeez. I mean, just...
Yeah.
Like, it turns out the Indians weren't really the savages, folks. Buy or sell number two. The Super Bowl is getting closer, and your excitement level has at least gone up a tick. Yesterday was media day.
Yeah, I'll buy a tick. It wasn't media day that did it, though. That thing jumped the shark for me a long time ago. It's just the fact that we're closer to the game itself. The Super Bowl always matters a little bit to me, and I look forward to just the basics of watching the game and stuff. So the fact that we're just a little closer, that's the excitement. The whole media day thing, they can get rid of that anytime they're ready.
Buy or sell number three. Breaking news: the Dallas Mavericks have traded Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards.
Okay.
Buy or sell. You don't even need me to tell you what was on the receiving end of the trade for the Mavericks. You think it was a good deal.
Sell. You need to tell me what was on the other end.
Chris Middleton. Hey.
Okay.
AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, and Marvin Bagley III, plus 2 first-round draft picks and 3 second-rounders.
All right. I'll pretend to have a half a smile on my face since they got an Aggie in return. Sure. What the hell?
By the way, there was a third team in the trade, and the Wizards, who end up getting Anthony Davis in the trade, also acquired Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum.
Wow. Okay. There you go.
There you go. So you weren't so willing to get the point of that question was like how high on the Anthony Davis we need to get rid of his ass fence were you on?
Yeah,
you at least needed to hear the return.
Yeah, I at least needed to hear the return, but I probably should have just bought and moved on.
Buy or sell number 4. The UFC needs these old dudes to keep beating these young dudes. Like they need a hole in their head.
Overall, that's a buy, but the fight game's the fight game, and
they got no young stars.
The thing with UFC though, part of their build has been that some guys and I guess some couple of the ladies as well can do it at an age where you're like, oh, okay. I mean, remember when Randy Couture became Randy Couture? Randy Couture wasn't like 23 years old or whatever. So I like the truth of it, but to what you're essentially presenting, overall, it is a buy. They definitely could always use a young name, but we know what the real truth of that sport, Catch, is what they need is crossover transcendent folks, and they just don't have a ton of those. Conor McGregor didn't last for that long. John Jones didn't quite do it the way maybe he could have, and Ronda Rousey eventually left, along with Lesnar. So they just don't have one of those people. That's the most important thing for them, no matter how old they are.
It feels like Patty is like the modern day Uriah Faber. And it's like they really could have used that guy, even though he's not great, to win that fight, just to be a star, because he does have some star qualities, even though it's like, he's not exactly Anderson Silva.
Right. Would he really transcend? I'm not sure, but yes, it would have behooved them for him to win.
But he's entertaining and not automatically in an obnoxious way, even though.
Exactly.
I could see some people saying, what are you talking about? Patty's pretty freaking obnoxious. And I would go, touche. Yeah. And finally, buy or sell number 5. You keeping up with this Lindsey Vonn thing? She tore her ACL and she is still going to compete in the Winter Olympics, which start on Friday.
Oh God, I had not heard that.
You've not heard that story. So Sel, you've not heard that story.
Sel, I had not heard that. That's awful. She's still going to try to
ACL.
She tore her ACL. She's still going to compete?
Yes.
My God. The hell? Was she Adrian Peterson? What is
yes.
How do you do?
Yes.
What? How do you do that?
Here, let me read you the headline of today's downhill skiing story off the services, okay?
All right.
Ongoing snowfall forced Milan Cortina Games organizers to cancel the opening women's downhill racing training session scheduled for Thursday, a break for Lindsey Vonn as she seeks more recovery time from her ruptured ACL.
Wow. Yeah, recovery time is usually not less than 2 weeks for a ruptured.
Now, you're probably asking, well, I mean, when did you hurt it? Like 6 months ago? Let me read you the important part of this article.
It was really recently, wasn't it?
Vonn and her team were hoping for Thursday's practice to be canceled after the 41-year-old ruptured the ACL in her left knee, along with bone bruising and meniscus damage when she lost control, landing a jump in Crans, Montana, Switzerland on Friday.
You know what that makes me think, Catch? The mystery, if anybody's ever wondered how she and Tiger got together, it's this kind of story that reminds you. Because just like this, they connected on that level, that they're both just tough as hell and they'll fight for anything.
They're maniacal.
Yeah, they're complete maniacs for what they do. And the fact that she's going to try to go at her age.
Well, the question that I was going to ask was that she should give up her spot.
I mean, there's a certain level of buy to that, but then again, they're selling these Olympics in large part around athletes like her, and she's earned a right to be Lindsey Vonn. If she says she can go, she can go. I'm sorry, I got to give it a shot.
I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm telling you, when was the last time we ever even had this conversation about anybody before?
Yeah. I'm sure there's an alternate on the hill in case they need her. I promise you.
No, like a couple, she got airlifted out of, everybody was like, this sounds bad. And then it was like, yep, it's a ruptured ACL. It's really bad. And then like the next day she thinks that she can do it with an ACL, that her sport is unique enough.
God, I hope she does. I always think of the same damn thing when it comes up, that Texas Tech football game when Chance Mock comes in and they win the game. BJ Simmons on the other side, we found out later, was playing with a torn ACL. Like, in weird, specific circumstances, it can be done. But if she pulls this off, man, that would be, if she just competes, it's incredible. I'm not saying she has to win a medal. If she medals, it's a whole nother discussion. I don't even know.
I was watching McCabe and Miller last night because apparently that was a Western that had to be crossed off my box, and
not good.
But in the movie, homeboy gets shot in the leg. Spoiler alert. And there's a bunch of homeboys though, so technically this could be about anybody. Yeah, homeboy gets shot in the leg, and my immediate 2026 brain was like, "Well, dude, that's 1868. You're dead. Like, there's nobody around to clean that. You're dying of infection." It is a little bit like that. As soon as he's hit, I'm like, in the 1800s, people died from that. That is not like, in a movie in the modern day where a guy takes one in the shoulder and is like, I'm okay. Yeah. Go on without me. No, man. In 1868, you died from that shit. And so, true to form, though, he did die in the movie. So I was really happy that they stuck to the, I don't think in the 1800s you survived from getting shot there. Whereas in the black and white movie days, dude's getting shot all over the place. And then the next scene, it's like, I'm back, champ. Good to see you, Duke.
All right, that was Catches Buy or Sell. I'll get you my buy or sell after I remind you, Travis from Hay City Store, but also Taste on Main reached out to me and he wanted me to remind everybody about brunch out at Taste on Main. Got to get out there and do that pretty soon. It's that time of year where, football, It's about to be done right after the Super Bowl. You're looking for things on Saturdays and Sundays. In case you can't see, look at that. Saturday, Sunday, 10 to 3, right there in downtown Buda. It is the lovely location. The food is great. The drinks are incredible. Indoor and outdoor seating. Get over there and tell them you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live and have some of that great brunch. Get together with your crew. Maybe you need to catch up. Do it at Taste on Main right there in downtown Buda. All right, Catch. Here we go. I've been thinking about – what's that?
I said, gimme.
I've been thinking about numbers this week, so let's do this. Buy or sell number one. Arch passing yards in 2026, 3,700 plus. Buy or sell?
Sell. Every year, before you started talking, I put a number in my head. I set it at 3,400. You went way above it. I'll take the sell.
Okay, you're at 34. Gotcha. All right, how about this one? Cam Coleman catches in 2026, 80 plus. Buy or sell?
Well, that is an average in over 12 games of more than 6 catches a game, 6.5 catches a game, basically. But if he plays in 13, 14, 15 games, that number comes down below 5.
He caught 56 last year, if that matters to you.
Buy. Sure. Yeah.
80 plus.
Not quite 100, but I'll go 80.
Yeah, I think it might need to be in that area if he's going to be the Cam Coleman we think he's going to be. All right, Catch. Buy or sell number 3. You will be on social media for the Super Bowl 60 halftime show.
Oh my God, buy. And more than that, like I love being on social media when it happens. Mm-hmm. There's no place better on earth than being on orangebloods.com in the middle and in the direct aftermath of the post-game show. I prepared myself for like a teaser. The opening act was the Grammys last week.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Being on Orange Bloods on Sunday when Bad Bunny does his set, it'll be a spectacle. It'll be because it will be a bunch of head exploding worlds. The music itself, right? Not exactly everybody's cup of tea. Why aren't they playing the Rolling Stones? 2, is that English?
Is that English? Answer, mostly no. Okay. No, not really.
And then 3, all the complicated stuff that all of that stuff making a super baby on, I'm fearful of it, but kind of curiously, morbidly curious about like just how insane is it going to be? How badly will people clutch their pearls? Can't we just have fun anymore? Like I also just want to throw that out there. Like I don't even own I don't know a Bad Bunny song, but like let me see what he can do. Like I'm maybe a little bit more open-minded about what Sunday might look like than others, but let's just not be so serious for once.
Yeah, I kind of figured you might be interested. All right, Kat, speaking of music, but not someone expected to appear with Bad Bunny, buy or sell number 4, Alice Cooper hit 77 today. Prime on Prime concert. You'd rather see Alice than Ozzy, buy or sell?
Sell. I'm just like Ozzy more. I'm not saying Ozzy's better. I just like Ozzy more. So if I could put my head on a pillow tonight and be like, I was able to see, I don't even know that it would need to be Prime on Prime. Like it'd be cool to be able to just say, I didn't. I've never saw Ozzy play. So that's a bucket list item that will never be bucket list checked. So I think I just pick Ozzy.
As someone who has seen both, you made the right choice. And finally, Catch, buy or sell number 5, Lawrence Taylor, 67 today. You have seen a better NFL defensive player than him, buy or sell? We're both now up there a little bit, so I thought I'd revisit.
Sell. He's the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen a better player than him. I think that his play like translated to championships. He was such a great defensive player that him being on the New York Giants made them Super Bowl contenders. Like just that's what he did. It felt like in his prime, if you put him on anybody else's team, it was like, oh, well, you now have a super weapon like Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl. It's just not the same.
If he's not on those teams, they probably don't get by Jim Kelly and Joe Montana.
He was just the best I've ever seen. And it's close because football is different. But he was like the first prototype. Before there was Lawrence Taylor ran or jogged or walked so that, a guy like DeMarcus Ware could run. But man, DeMarcus Ware was never, as much as Myles Garrett is a great player,
right?
That dude, and he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Think of the crazy shit that Myles Garrett has been involved in his career. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And yet that guy ain't a day in his life ever been Lawrence Taylor. And so I would just tell the kids, because you'd almost have to be an old head now to have seen Lawrence Taylor. What a player, man. What a player. We saw him twice a year as a Cowboys fan.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
And there was never a year where it didn't feel like Lawrence reminded us that it sucked to have to play that dude twice a year.
Happy birthday to Lawrence Taylor. Also,
that's Danny White.
Catch for me. He's also the guy that really
Steve Blue didn't like him either.
He gave birth to NFL Films for me because they put a mic on him and they showed us the footage, and it was against the Jets, and he screamed across the field at another guy, and your eyes just bugged out of your head. But it's still my favorite moment, NFL Films ever. He sacks Ken O'Brien and says to him, "Son, y'all got to do better than this." And you talk about a kid falling in love with football. I just thought that's one of the greatest things I've ever seen and heard. And just to give us that moment, that was so new at the time. And that level monster saying that to a quarterback, it was freaking awesome.
And to be fair, it was wild, wild west stuff in the 80s. And dudes were like tomahawk chopping dudes in the throat. Like it was a different sport. And like the mid 80s, Lawrence Taylor is probably getting thrown out of games for targeting.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, they would have thrown him out. Because back then they could not just talk about Night Train Lane. They could still do some of the Night Train Lane stuff. They hadn't gotten rid of all of that yet. All right, that's my buy or sell. Catch, anything else we need to hit today?
No, I just to circle back on it's a fascinating day. Like Sark's not even doing a press conference today.
Is that right?
That's where we are with National Signing Day, is that and I was curious about it because they did sign a bunch. They have signed guys. I wondered, will they use this as an unofficial let's get together and talk about everything that we've done? That they didn't may just speak more to like Sark just ain't got time to talk to us and doesn't want to talk to us. It might be not because he doesn't want to be asked questions. It might be just because he doesn't want to talk to us. But there are a lot of programs around the country that will hold press conferences today to kind of talk about all the business that they did.
Yeah.
I had mentioned I hoped they would do it because I wanted Sark to maybe take us behind the curtain a little bit on his perception of like how all of they did a great job in the portal. I would love to hear from his perspective, like how they executed their plan. And today could have been a day where he could have let us in a little bit. Those questions could have been asked, and we're not going to get it. It would appear.
Yeah. Why couldn't today, Catch, be the plane is landed, lay it all out, right? You're going to talk like, I can't remember. Did he do one in December for NSD 1? They did one that day, right? So you do that one, but then you've done all this portal stuff. You could come back and hit all of it. Everybody. And you could give, Elijah Ali a little bit of love since he officially signed today if you need to. But then you could go through the whole thing, and hopefully for you or me, somebody would ask an offensive line question. So maybe I'm answering the question of why they're not doing it. Anyway. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you eventually do. I do it all the time, Chad. You answered your own question.
I just got to the answer because he'd be pissed off if he talked about how great they did in the portal. And then the follow-up was, yeah, but you didn't do what you said you were in offensive line, did you? Thoughts? And then he'd get pissed. And then he'd say, according to who? And that's all we would talk about.
By the way, how would the Joe Theismann injury be treated in 2026? That felt in 1986 or 87, whenever that happened. I was a big sports fan, so it felt monstrous.
Yeah.
But there was no social media. There was no 24-hour sports media. it feels like that would have been who's the equivalent of Joe Theismann today? That's if Josh Allen and Theismann was a champion, so that's not even right.
Right.
He's not a Hall of Famer though, so it's got to be somebody who's.
I mean,
is Eli Manning?
Mahomes? Is it Patrick?
No, because Patrick is literally like one of the 5 greatest quarterbacks of all time. Theismann was like a former MVP, but he's not a Hall of Famer. So he's something less than Hall of Fame, but like a player that oddly defined, from Chad and I, who would define a decade. That guy, it is impossible to mistake how gruesome of an injury that was. And that was back at a time when the entire everybody watched Monday Night Football.
Right. Now, the first part of my answer, Catch, would be they would protect us from it in a way that they didn't in the 80s, because nowadays you see it and immediately they won't show you a lot of replays. We saw about 4 replays that night that we did not need to see. And I can still hear like the announcers. It's kind of like, whoa, but
that's like injury porn is what that is.
Right. So we'd be protected from it television-wise a little more than we were back then. It'd be on the internet, obviously. It would hit social media hard.
Was that the equivalent of watching an assassination attempt on live television? You know what I mean? Like, you're right. They did not protect it from us that night. In fact, they leaned into it. And when it was over with, that may be the first injury that I ever remembered where it was like being explained to me, we're just not going to show you this anymore.
Yeah. And it's also the example I always think of when I see the guy that creates the injury motioning the other guys over. That's the first time I ever remember that happening. And I'm a little kid when that happens. What are we? I'm 11, 12, 13, whatever I was. To see Lawrence Taylor realize it in real time and start motioning to the Redskins at the time training staff, get out here. I just snapped his leg in half and it's bad. I didn't even think of defensive players doing that. That's the best example I've ever seen of it, where the defensive guy realizes, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? Get out here.
I'm pretty sure he knocked out. So he broke White's arm, if I remember correctly, in the 86 season, one of the infamous Phil Posderic moments. And then he would have gotten Theismann. So he literally eliminated 2 NFC East quarterback positions in a calendar year. Just
God, what a monster.
I mean, he was just, and you know what? That doesn't sound like, it doesn't sound as barbaric as it would today. Like if I told you, oh yeah, Myles Garrett knocked a couple of guys out for the season, you'd almost be like, Jesus, man, is he still in the league? Did they ban him? You know?
Exactly.
With Lawrence Taylor, it was like, yeah, man, you better protect your quarterback. He does. Yeah. He puts guys out for the year.
Yep. Yeah, Lawrence just called those Sundays. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and getting your notifications. Check out all the good stuff at Orange Bloods Live, including the video section, the short section. We appreciate all that support. 220,000, I think, up there in that world. 220,000 plus subscribers. Thank you guys for that. Happy National Signing Day, too, for whatever it is now. And we'll be back tomorrow with a Thursday show. Y'all take care.
I know what our tease is going to be.
What's that?
Kirk Bowles just released a column. I'm seeing the headline right now. How hot is the seat under Texas coach Steve Sarkisian? It's definitely warm entering the 6th season.
Wow. Kirk Bowles, thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Content, kids.
Come on now. Hercules. We'll be back for a Thursday show tomorrow. It's Orange Bloods Live.